man, that's a lot of crow. My name's Steve, and we got an episode for you coming up, so please stay to the very end. A family was on a commercial flight when they noticed something unusual outside their window and decided to start filming. And when you really take a moment to look at what they captured, it's not easy to explain. There's a figure in the clouds, part of it's visible, part of it's hidden, and the way it just lingers there feels intentional, almost as if whatever it is knows it's being watched. At times, it seems to shift slightly, slipping in and out of the clouds, not fully revealing itself, not completely disappearing either, just enough to keep you questioning what you're seeing. Naturally, you start to try to make sense of it. At cruising altitude, usually somewhere around 30,000 and 40,000 feet, there's not many possibilities. Birds don't fly that high, drones are not built to reach those heights and cloud formations. They don't usually take on shapes like this, especially not ones that seem to move with purpose. The longer you watch it, the harder it becomes to settle on a simple explanation. Was it just a trick of the light or shadow playing against the clouds in a way that fooled the eye, or was there actually something there staying just out of clear view? Take a close look at the footage, because whatever that is, it doesn't quite behave like anything we're used to seeing in the sky. A man in Wisconsin captured this on his home security camera and later shared the still images. According to him, nothing was edited, nothing was altered. What you're about to see is exactly what the camera picked up. And when you look at it closely, it raises more questions than answers. The camera records a light disc moving steadily across the sky from left to right. It's not flickering, it's not distorting. It holds its shape and brightness in every single frame, almost too perfectly. Naturally, you start comparing it to what you know. It doesn't move like a plane, there's no blinking lights, no change in speed or direction. It doesn't behave like a drone either. No strobing, no instability, nothing that suggests controlled flight the way we're used to seeing it. And that's where it starts to get interesting. Because once you rule out the obvious, you're left with something that doesn't quite fit into any familiar category. Wisconsin is not usually the first place people think of when it comes to sightings like this, but it does have a quiet history of unexplained activity, especially in its rural and lakeside areas, where the skies are darker and much easier to observe without interference from city lights, which makes captures like this even harder to ignore. You're looking at something that clearly moves across the sky, something that stays consistent from start to finish, something that doesn't immediately line up with the usual explanations. So now it comes down to this. Is it a drone, a rare atmospheric phenomenon, or something we simply don't have the answers for yet? Take a closer look and tell me what you think is really going on here.
Oh, what the heck? Oh my gosh! There's little lights! There's little lights!
Okay, let's take a look at this flip and see what we got. Whoa. Holy hell. Whoa. That was... Whoa. That's close. Are you kidding me? I think that this just goes to prove to you that when your time is up, your time is up. When it's not, it's just not. End of story.
You okay?
Fireballs are being spotted all across the US right now, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. Another one was just captured in Ohio on a Ring camera, and when you watch it closely, it immediately pulls you in. A sudden streak of light cuts across the sky, bright, fast, gone almost as quickly as it appeared. But there's something about it that makes people pause, something that doesn't feel so easy to explain. Naturally, the first thought is meteors. Small pieces of space debris enter the atmosphere, burning up as they travel at incredible speeds. It's something that happens more often than people realize, but here's where it starts to get interesting. Sightings like this are being reported across multiple states, all within a short span of time. Different locations, different cameras, yet the same kind of glowing streak appears again and again. And that raises a question. Is this just a period of increased meteor activity, something completely natural that just happens to be more visible right now? Or is there something else behind it that we're not fully understanding? Because when you watch this one closely, the speed, the brightness, the way it moves, it makes you look twice. Take a good look at the footage. Would you call this a meteor, or does something about it feel just slightly off? The Epstein files have completely taken over 2026. Every day there's something new. Another detail, another theory, another piece that keeps people questioning what's really true. But this one in particular has pulled a lot of people deep into conspiracy territory. The user shared a photo of Epstein standing next to another individual and decided to test something. They asked Grok to remove the person in the image who was still alive. Simple request. But the result was not what anyone expected. Grok removed Epstein. Now, under the official record that makes no sense, Epstein was declared dead in August 2019. That is the version of the events the public has been given. So if the AI identified Epstein as the living person in that image and removed him accordingly, then its response points somewhere completely different. And that is where things start to feel uncomfortable. Because AI does not guess in the way humans do. It follows patterns, data, training. So people are now asking, what led it to that conclusion? Was it a mistake, a flaw in how it interpreted the prompt, or did it process something in a way that doesn't align with what we've been told? At a time when the entire situation already feels uncertain, moments like this only add fuel to the fire. You're looking at the outcome yourself. Now the question is, was this just an AI error, or something that raises a much bigger question about what we think we know? Okay, so now we got virtual fencing. Well, this was bound to happen at some point. They've already got things you can hang around animals' necks that make a beep, and the satellite shows them where they are, and then makes some kind of a sound or a little electric shock that stops it going from a past a certain point. So I guess this is just the next phase, but let's have a look. There you go. Perfectly plausible.
Virtual fencing is an advanced technology that allows farmers to manage livestock without using physical fences. Animals wear a GPS-enabled collar around their neck, while farmers can customize and draw virtual boundaries anywhere they want using a mobile app. When an animal approaches the set boundary, the collar first sends an audio warning. If the animal continues forward, a mild pulse signal is activated, guiding it back into the allowed area. This signal is safe, humane, and does not harm the animal. Through the app, farmers can also track the real-time location of their animals, adjust grazing areas anytime, and reduce fencing costs. Virtual fencing is increasingly being adopted worldwide as a smart, flexible, and sustainable farming solution.
Personally, I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's a lot better than electric fencing. It's a lot better than barbed wire. Brilliant. As far as I'm concerned, this is a great invention. Well done, whoever did this.
Virtual fencing is an advanced technology that allows farmers to manage livestock without using physical fences.
Oh, God. More Balenciaga products. You know what I'm really hoping? That the person who invented this stuff, let's call him Bert Balenciaga, has done this just to take the piss. Just to really, really show how stupid people are. Because if he did, well done, sir. Well done. Let's take a look at the clip and see what ridiculous items we got now.
Hello. Today we're going to go into ridiculous Balenciaga products. This could take all day, but I've limited myself. The towel skirt is bad. It's $925 of stupid. A Vogue editor once wore it for an entire day and chronicled her day, and at the end of the day she was like, yeah, it's a towel. Perhaps my least favorite thing is the Balenciaga trash bag. You guys have heard me complain about this before. Original retail was $1,790. And I hate it, and it's stupid. It's leather. It's meant to look like a trash bag. But this right here, this is advanced stupid. This is the Gaffer Bangle. Currently selling for $1,190. Now that is a price reduction from the original price of $3,300 from when it premiered last year. Even Balenciaga could not find people this stupid. And in case you're wondering, no, there's nothing special about it. It's just gaffer tape with resin over top of it. Although it is made in France. Someone who went to school, someone who went to fashion school, had to write true to size in his product description. I mean, honestly, we might have found the stupidest thing. I might be at the end of this journey. I don't think so, but... Whew. It's $925 of stupid. Balenciaga trash bag. You guys have heard me complain about this before. Original retail was $1,790. This is the Gaffer Bangle. Currently selling for $1,190.
Human beings seem to be going way too far, doing the absolute most to find proof of aliens out in space, when we already have this living in our ocean. You cannot tell me this doesn't look like something from another world. Behold the Chirodectus maculatus, one of the rarest creatures ever documented on this planet. In fact, it's only been officially observed once during a research expedition in the Pacific Ocean back in 2005. Just once. This means almost everything we think we know about it comes from a single encounter. We don't know how many of them exist. We don't know where they usually stay. We don't even fully understand how they behave. And that alone should make you pause. It's as classified as a box jellyfish, but calling it a jellyfish does not truly capture what you're observing. Its body is nearly entirely transparent, and the way it moves through the water seems unnatural, smooth, controlled, almost as if it's gliding purposefully rather than simply drifting. It knows exactly where it's going, so while we're out here scanning distant planets searching for signs of life, maybe we're overlooking something much closer. Because if this is what we've managed to find so far, well, what else is still out there, moving through the dark completely unseen? What if the aliens we're looking for already live with us in our oceans? Let that one sink in. This footage was taken just days ago on March the 24th by a man fishing along a river in Huber Heights, Ohio. While he was out there, he noticed something moving on the opposite bank. At first, it was just a shape, something shifting near the tree line, so he zoomed in. And what he captured has been making the rounds ever since. A large figure steps out from the trees, moving steadily across the open space before disappearing right back into the woods. And the first thing that hits you is the size. This is not small. Whatever it is stands somewhere around 6 to 7 feet tall, but it's not just the height that stands out, it's the build. Broad, muscular, not just tall but solid. And the posture, it's slightly off. Not quite how you'd expect a person to carry themselves. The more you watch it, the harder it becomes to immediately label. Now here's where things get interesting. Ohio actually has a long history of Bigfoot sightings. The forested areas across the state have seen dozens of reported encounters over the years, enough that some researchers have even mapped out specific regions where sightings seem to happen more often than others. Of course, there is a simple explanation. This could just be a very large person walking along the river, someone out there minding their business, caught at the right angle and distance to look unusual. But then you watch it again, the way it moves toward the trees, the way it disappears, the way it carries its weight. It doesn't quite settle as easily as that. Take a closer look at the footage, because whatever that figure is, it leaves just enough uncertainty to keep the question open.
It's a Bigfoot. Is he picking up? Hey, we really might be catching a Bigfoot on video. What?
They say every person on Earth has at least one doppelganger out there somewhere. For most people, this is just a fun idea, maybe even a little interesting. But then there are certain names where a lookalike walking around freely would not be fascinating, and it would be unsettling instead. One of those names is Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that guy again. This video has gone viral, showing a man driving in a convertible. At first glance, it just looks like another random clip, but then you really look at him, and the resemblance is hard to ignore. It's not just one feature, the facial structure lines up, the skin tone, the wrinkles, and then there are the ears. That's the detail that has people paying close attention. Because in forensic work, ears are one of the most reliable markers of identity. They're often compared to fingerprints, unique, consistent, and they don't change much over time. And on this man, well, they look very close. As the video spread, the man came forward himself. He addressed it directly and stated clearly that he is not Jeffrey Epstein. He even said the entire situation has been upsetting for him. But that has not stopped the internet. People are still comparing frames, still zooming in, still questioning whether this is just a coincidence or something more. Doppelgangers are real, that much we know, but when the resemblance gets this close, and when the person in question is tied to a story as controversial as this one, it becomes harder for people to just move on. Is this just an unfortunate resemblance taken too far? Or is this one of those moments that makes you question everything you thought you knew?
Just me being me, and it's a crazy phenomenon that has went really viral. Have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. He's a very bad person, what he did, obviously, and he is dead. And I'm alive.
Now, I think this next video is gonna prove why I never put processed food in my mouth. Oh man, the human being, such a stupid animal. This story goes back to 1984, and to this day, doctors, scientists, and spiritualists have never agreed fully on what really happened. A woman was at home when she suddenly began hearing a male voice speaking to her. At first, it sounds like something you might try to ignore, but then the voice does something that changes everything. It gives her 3 specific pieces of personal information, details that nobody else could have known, and that's when fear sets in. She seeks psychiatric help and is diagnosed with functional hallucinatory psychosis. She's given medication, and the voice stops. Case closed. Right? Well, not quite. After going on vacation, the voice comes back. Same presence, same clarity, but this time it says something far more serious. It tells her she has a brain tumor. A doctor still believes this is psychosis but agrees to run tests just to be sure. And then the results come in. She does have a tumor. Not only that, it's successfully removed, which means the voice was right. Now, the medical explanation that followed suggested that the tumor may have been severe enough to trigger hallucinations, that somehow the brain was alerting itself to a danger within. But there's a problem with that explanation. It doesn't account for what happened at the beginning. Those 3 pieces of personal information, details that had nothing to do with the tumor, details that were accurate. A tumor cannot know private information about someone's life. So if this was not a psychosis and it was not a tumor speaking, then what the hell was it? Was it just a rare and misidentified function of the human brain? Or was it something else watching? Something that stepped in at exactly the right time? Gummies. I used to love gummies. Haven't had one in ages.
Chewy part of gummy candy isn't sugar. It's made from animals. Most gummies aren't fruit candy at all. They're built on gelatin. Gelatin is made by boiling animal bones, skin, and tissues. That collagen is dried, ground into powder, and only then mixed with water to form gel. Because gelatin has no taste or color, companies drown it in sugar and bright dyes to make it sweet. And that shiny coating on gummies? That's carnauba wax. The same stuff used to polish card.
We all know this, right? Is there anybody here that didn't actually know that this was the case? Please let me know in the comments section. I tell you what, here's an idea. Let us know what your favorite gummies are. Yeah, Haribos and, all this stuff. What do you guys like?
Most gummies aren't fruit candy at all. They're built on gelatin. Gelatin is made by boiling animal bones, skin, and tissues. That collagen is dried, ground into powder, and only then mixed with water to form gel. Because gelatin has no taste or color, companies drown it in sugar and bright dyes to make it sweet. And that shiny coating on gummies? That's carnauba wax. The same stuff used to polish card.
Looks like we got a murder of crows going all over Tel Aviv. By the looks of how many crows there are, this is more like a multiple homicide of crows, but let's take a look. Man, that's a lot of crows. What are they all doing? I wonder what they're all doing there. Anybody got any answers? Open up the comment section. A homeowner was reviewing their security footage when they noticed something chilling. A child crouched behind the television cabinet, just peeking their head out from the side. The problem? Well, there was no child in the house. No way one could have entered. Curious and cautious, the homeowner grabbed their phone and approached, recording every step. But the moment they got close, the child dug down completely. And when they reached the spot, well, there's nobody there. What makes this truly unsettling is how real it looked. This was not a shadow, not a trick of the light. It was a child. Shaken, the homeowner started asking questions. What they discovered stopped them cold. The previous occupants of the home had lost a child there, and locals had long whispered about strange occurrences in the property. Could what they saw have been a child's spirit, still lingering, still unseen by most, but captured here for a brief, terrifying moment?
Niño.
Have you ever noticed how your favorite fast food tastes almost exactly the same no matter where you get it? Well, that's not your imagination, and once you learn what's happening behind the scenes, it becomes almost impossible to look at a fast food menu the same way again. There's a company called Leprino Foods that supplies roughly 80% of all mozzarella cheese in the United States. That means when you order pizza from Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or dozens of other chains, you're eating cheese from the same source, just in different packaging. Then there's Cisco, which distributes frozen and processed foods across thousands of restaurants in the country. The chicken in your Burger King, the McDonald's, and even your Popeyes, there's a very strong chance it traveled through the same supply chain before it landed in 3 completely different branded boxes. And the cheesecake situation is no different. A significant portion of restaurant cheesecakes come from a large-scale manufacturer, only to be served under different names at very different prices. The truth is, the choice we think we have when walking down a fast food strip is largely an illusion. Different packaging, different branding, but the product itself almost identical. None of it's truly better than the other. So now, ask yourself, does knowing this change the way you feel about what you've been eating all this time? A woman was outside near a wooded area late at night when she started hearing something coming from the darkness. Curious and a little unsettled, she began recording. What she captured is hard to categorize. At first, it was a low, distant sound almost like a hum, but gradually it develops into something more distinct, something that sounds like singing. It's a woman's voice, rising and falling rhythmically, coming from the direction of the river that runs alongside the woods. And remember, this is in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere. The next day, she returned to the spot in daylight to show the location. Thick trees around the area, the river winds close by, and there are no homes nearby that could explain someone being out there at that hour. The isolation is a big part of why the recording unsettles so many people. The woman herself thinks it was probably just another person. She's not convinced it was anything supernatural and that it's fair. People do strange things in the dark. But across cultures, particularly those connected to rivers and forests, there are ancient traditions of female entities singing at night to lure people closer. The Slavic Rusalka, the German Lorelei, various river spirits in West African folklore. Across continents and centuries, the pattern is strikingly similar. Whether you believe in those traditions or not, there is something about the sound on this recording that doesn't feel entirely human. Take a listen and ask yourself what was really singing by the river that night.
What the
A man was driving alone at night when he spotted a figure on the side of the road and started filming. What the camera picks up is a figure in a white dress with dark hair, but it's the sound that accompanies the footage that has people talking. It sounds like someone crying. Many viewers immediately connected it to La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. This legend has been told for centuries, appearing consistently across Mexico, Central America, and parts of the southern United States. Locals near the area where this was filmed say they have had similar experiences along the same stretch of water. Others watching the footage suggest a different explanation. Several animals, including foxes, certain birds, and even cats, can produce vocalizations that sound eerily human when heard at night. And because the figure is not fully visible, that possibility cannot be completely ruled out. But if it's an animal, well, which one could make a sound like that? That is the question that keeps people debating. Listen closely to the recording and ask yourself, what do you hear?
Oh, ¿qué fue?
Got him.
This footage was captured by a Ring camera outside the home of an elderly couple. As you can see, they appear to be heading out, unaware of the silent observer just a few meters away, a bear staring right at them. What's shocking here is that the couple seem completely oblivious to the bear's presence, casually locking the door and walking away without even a glance in the animal's direction. Thankfully, the bear didn't react or make any move toward them. It just watched quietly as they went about their business, leaving the scene without incident. While this situation turned out to be harmless, it's a chilling reminder of how unpredictable nature can be and how important it is to stay aware of your surroundings. You never know when a dangerous animal might be nearby, even in your neighborhood. The world keeps getting freakier by the day, just when you thought you'd seen it all.
What the fuck am I looking at?
A woman was driving behind a car when they had to stop for a train to pass by. As they were waiting, something truly bizarre happened. The driver of the car in front of her got out and began walking back and forth, and there was something very unusual about him. He appeared to have a third leg, and no, not what you're thinking, an actual third leg. How is this possible? Is it some form of birth defect, or is the man playing a trick? Because this looks so bizarre. A three-legged man is not impossible, but it's certainly not something you expect to see. The man moved around naturally as if having a third leg was perfectly normal. In rare cases, people can be born with extra limbs due to a condition called polymorphia. These extra limbs are often non-functional and can be surgically removed, but in some cases, individuals choose to keep them. It's also possible that this man was using some kind of device for reasons unknown to the observer, but what do you think?
What the fuck am I looking at here? What the fuck am I looking at? Officially freaked the fuck out, okay? This is my charger. Fast charger, got it on Amazon. It's got the little side thing, black. This is my charger. Okay, I took my cord out of my charger like I do every single day when I go to pick up the kids. I wrapped up my cord, put it in my purse, put this on top of my Q-tip jar in my vanity like I do every single day. I take my card with me in the car to plug in the car charger so I don't need this. And then when I come home, I get it off the Q-tip thing, whatever, so on and so forth. I turned around and went back to my purse and I saw, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I'm shaking, I'm freaked out. And I saw this, look at it. Same exact charger, but I don't have another one of these. I grabbed it and I went, what? I just put that over there. And then I went back to go sit it down thinking I thought something different, and there's two. And I don't have two. I don't have two of these.
This woman found another charger in her purse after taking one out, and now she has two, but she insists she never bought an extra one. This mysterious occurrence, often referred to as glitches in the matrix, are becoming more common. People report finding duplicates of items like chargers, keys, or even pieces of clothing without any explanation for where the extras came from. Skeptics might argue that these incidents are simply cases of forgetfulness or coincidence. Perhaps the woman did buy an extra charger at some point and simply forgot about it. Or maybe it was a gift that slipped her mind. However, the growing number of similar stories makes us wonder if something more unusual is happening. Many individuals in the community believe these occurrences are indeed glitches. One comment that caught my eye was this particular one. Am I the only one who finds the comment funny and brilliant? Hopefully it gave you a good laugh.
Something different, and there's two. And I don't have two. I don't have two of these.
The image on your screen was taken by a couple who went out to enjoy the great outdoors. To immortalize the experience, they took a lot of pictures and videos. What they didn't count on, however, was capturing a third party they didn't even know was at the location with them. After scrutinizing the image on your screen, the duo realized that there was a strange being in the image they had taken. Although they didn't know what being or creature it was there. They uploaded it to one of our paranormal platforms seeking answers. Some stated this had to be legit, while others were very skeptical. Take this comment, for instance. I mean, his line of reasoning is a lot like Julius's, but when you think about it, he does have a point. Others in the community, however, insist it had to be a cryptid or otherworldly. Which of these schools of thought are you personally likely to adapt? Take a look at this mukbang. It's certainly not for the faint-hearted. These men have a bowl filled with large black spiders paired with lettuce, peppers, and a dipping sauce. One by one, they grab a spider, wrap it in a lettuce leaf, dip it in the sauce, and take a crunchy bite. Whew, that sound is unmistakably crispy and crunchy. It's unsettling to watch, especially knowing what's on the menu, but somehow they seem to be enjoying themselves as they eat. Insects and arachnids have been part of various cultures' diets for centuries, especially in regions where they're seen as a sustainable source of protein. Though it might seem extreme to some, it's quite common in parts of Asia and South America. These cultures embrace insects like crickets, grasshoppers, and even spiders as a normal part of the diet. Insects are considered to be great alternatives to traditional protein sources like fish and meat, as they're rich in nutrients and environmentally friendly to farm. The real question is, would you dare to try something like this, or is it just too much for you? Take a look at this startling footage, a large greenish orb descending from the sky and landing on Earth. It's a sight that is both mesmerizing and alarming. Could this be a comet or some other celestial object? Some viewers are convinced that what we are seeing is a comet, a natural phenomenon where a chunk of ice and rock from outer space enters Earth's atmosphere, burning brightly as it descends. The greenish hue might suggest the presence of certain elements like copper or nickel, which can burn green when heated. However, skeptics think otherwise. Many people believe this footage is digitally altered. One key piece of evidence is the lack of reflection of the orb's light on the water below. If the orb was real and as bright as it appears, we would expect to see its light reflected in the surrounding environment, especially on the water's surface. What do you think?
But you don't see anything. I went away. And then it just stopped. What the fuck was that?
Now, this is something you don't see every day. At first glance, I thought this had to be AI, but the individual who posted it insisted it was real and there were actually individuals trying to explain it away. One individual even posted, "This usually happens when the elements of the distributed oxygen amongst the perpetual nucleus generates chemicals to react to such abnormal hypothesis, segregating in unique formation that utilizes the recalculated stigmatisms that articulately understands patterns of the strategic non-placement of the reconstruction of the general systematic patterns of the geological restoration of the H2O that's transparent to visual effects of circulatory motion." When I saw this, I believed this was the explanation, although I didn't understand a word it was saying. So I walked toward Julius, showing him the video, and started to explain using the same words this lad used. Julius took a second to look at me and respectfully told me I had spoken gibberish. What I had said made no scientific sense. That hurt my soul. It's easier to have him look down on me for not knowing, but for him to do so because I said a lot of wrong stuff hurt in a way I didn't know was possible. It turned out there were others who called out the individual for typing things that was not true, but I missed it because I was so preoccupied with showing off to Julius. Whatever the case, you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet, even if it sounds smart.
What the fuck this is? Rolling around in this water. There ain't nothing there. But you don't see anything. I went away.
Stepping away from this technological wonder, take a look at this capture of our favorite elusive ancient wonder, Bigfoot. After recovering from her petrification induced by fear, a lady managed to capture this image of a Bigfoot that she had crossed paths with in the woods. She was scared. Yes, I mean, these things are supposed to be big. But what was the Bigfoot doing? If this image is truly real, was it trying to hide behind those trees, or was it just standing there to have a better look? I'm not exactly sure, but many who saw the capture stated they believed it was authentic. They believed this is one capture of the real and actual being. There are also some who expressed skepticism. Take this comment from one of the reposts of the image, for instance. I mean, his comment is logical, but who knows what device the lady was using? I mean, there are people still using phones with bad cameras in our day and age. Anyway, what do you guys think? A craft soaring over snowy mountains captured something mysterious on camera, a fast-moving object zipping past the helicopter. If you watch closely and even slow it down, you can clearly see it's not an insect or debris. The speed and trajectory seem unnatural for something small and close, adding an eerie air to the footage. What could it be? Many might speculate it's a UFO, while others could lean towards some high-speed drone or even a visual glitch. But considering how distinct the object appears and the fact that it was moving in front of the helicopter, it leaves room for plenty of theories. Giants are being widely spoken of in various cultures and religions, often surrounded by myths and legends. In Turkey, scientists claim they found skeletal remains of Noah. The discovery includes a massive thigh bone near Mount Ararat, significantly larger than a normal human's. Also in Turkey, there is a jawbone in a museum that dwarfs any modern human jawbone. These findings fuel the ongoing debate about the existence of giants. The Bible talks about the Nephilim, described as giants who lived before and after the Great Flood. In Guam, legends say giants built the Latte stones, massive pillars that still stand today. Then there are the giant rocks in Lebanon, some weighing hundreds of tons, which no known human technology could have moved in ancient times. The list of such stories and artifacts goes on and on. Yet mainstream scientists often dismiss these accounts. They frequently argue that humans are evolving, getting bigger and better over time. However, a glance at biblical texts suggests that humans might have actually devolved, becoming smaller compared to those ancient giants. So who speaks the truth here? Are these stories and artifacts evidence of a forgotten age of giants, or are they simply misunderstood relics of human history? Starting today's clip, we got a rather strange one. Take a look. What do you reckon that is? A dog, wolf, pig, or fish? In fact, it looks like a combination of all these creatures, and it's got many talking. We're not told where this was recorded or what this thing is, but there are a number of individuals who think we're dealing with a science project leaked to the public. They think there's someone in a secret lab somewhere, splicing and combining DNA from various animals to create the ultimate animal. While that sounds like some fine line of reasoning, it doesn't sound realistic. If anyone was aiming at creating the ultimate animal based on what we see, I can only say that the individual succeeded in creating the ultimate abomination. I mean, just look at it. The only logical explanation for this is that it's AI generated. While it's easy to tell this one is AI, you have to wonder and ask how long AI will continue to look like this. If we have learned anything, it only takes a few months for AI to move from looking totally unrealistic to totally believable. When we get there, we will be back again to pick up this discussion. We've heard the conversations about robots taking over people's jobs. While we've been told physical jobs could become a thing of the past, never did I ever think I could be buying drinks from a robot in the near future. It pains me to admit it, but it looks like the robot is holding out quite well. So, Robo bartenders, not sure how I feel about that. I mean, you can't have conversations with them and tell them about your ex or how bad your day was. Not sure they do tricks too, but maybe this is just me being petty and finding something to complain about. What do you guys think of this? Now this is truly unbelievable. In this footage, we see something that seems to completely defy logic. A goat is standing on the side of a tree trunk as if gravity itself decided to take a break. What's more, the goat isn't just hanging onto any branches or footholds, it's perched directly on the vertical side of the tree. Effortlessly nibbling on the leaves, there are no visible supports, no branches for it to balance on, and yet it's standing perfectly still in a position that should be impossible for any creature. This sighting raises so many questions. How can a goat balance on such a steep angle? Could this be some sort of optical illusion? Goats are known for their extraordinary balance and ability to climb on steep surfaces, but this is next level. Maybe we've underestimated the physical capabilities of these animals, or maybe the goat is possessed. Who knows? What do you think? Anyone who knows anything about the pyramids knows that they have been a subject of speculation, with some thinking they were built by aliens or beings beyond our comprehension. This clip tells a similar story. As impressive as Giza is, there are some speculations of another pyramid in Bosnia known as the Pyramid of the Sun. If you're wondering why you've never heard of it, the answer is simple. It's the size of a mountain and it's covered in vegetation. In fact, no one thought anything of it until an archaeologist realized that the shape of the mountain looked like a pyramid. Aside from the sides and slopes that connect perfectly, an apex which is characteristic of pyramids, this suspected pyramid is also aligned with the true north, which is also another mysterious feature of the pyramids. They also measured EMF readers to the top and recorded readings of up to 60 times what's expected from our planet. Aside from that, it had 4 other hills or mountains around it that archaeologists suspect to be pyramids as well. If you know much about pyramids, then you know this is the norm with them as well. What's more, before the other pyramids were excavated, they were covered with foliage too, just like this one. The difference with this one is its size. The rocks there were carbon dated, and they went back as far as 35,000 years ago. The scientific implications of that are great. One would think a discovery like this would be welcome, but the archaeologists and all who worked on it were discredited and accused of planting evidence to make it look like that. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the whole thing suspicious. Has any of you heard about this alleged pyramid before, and what do you make of it?
Ooh, a fairy! Wait, actually, what the hell? Guys, that does not look like an ordinary bug. Okay, I'm catching this fairy, bro. What the frick?
Yo, hell no!
This clip was recorded by a young lady who was sitting out in a yard one night with her friends. What was supposed to be an ordinary night out with friends became something rather extraordinary. You see it, don't you? The glowing creature flying around the yard. Aside from glowing, it was also darting and bouncing around, making it hard to make out its exact features. Yet for one undeniable characteristic, it was glowing. It wasn't tiny either, to be described as a bug, which adds to the intrigue. Sure, some fireflies can create a similar effect, but the person who captured this footage swears that what she saw was a fairy. It looked more like it had a humanoid body than that of a bug. If you're familiar with this channel and our paranormal content, then you know what we used to think were only fairy tales are now becoming more of a reality. Many people have come forward with accounts and footage of encountering creatures we once thought never existed. This clip is no different, but the big question on everyone's mind is this actually real? What say you?
Actually, what the hell? Guys, that does not look like an ordinary bug. Okay, I'm catching this fairy, bro. What the frick? Yo, hell no!
Beware when making transactions at gas stations, especially after what we discovered in California. A gas station in California called a repairman to fix one of the payment machines, and what he found was shocking. A hidden layer of tabs was placed over the original keyboard, recording every detail you entered, including your payment codes, without you even realizing it. Your account could be emptied. This was discovered in California, but it could be happening anywhere. Also, stay cautious, especially when using card readers at public places like gas stations. Be sure to inspect the machines, and if anything seems suspicious, don't hesitate to report it. This footage, believed to have been taken back in 1963, is often referred to as the Harlan Ford Bigfoot, and is considered one of the oldest known Bigfoot sightings captured on film. Harlan Ford, a retired man who spent his leisure time in the wild taking photos and videos, claims to have encountered the elusive creature during one of his outings. While the creature isn't clearly visible in the footage, Ford's account paints a vivid picture. He describes the being as standing about 7 foot tall, covered in gray hair, and possessing striking red eyes. According to Ford, the creature emitted a foul odor and left behind footprints with webbed feet, an unusual feature that sets this sighting apart from more familiar Bigfoot descriptions. The details, especially the webbed feet, challenge what we think we know about Bigfoot. Could this have been a unique encounter or a completely different creature? This mysterious photograph has recently surfaced from an anonymous man in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. The image, taken 13 years ago during a camping trip near Square Top Mountain, depicts a figure that has ignited a wave of speculation among Bigfoot enthusiasts. Captured in the Arapaho and Roosevelt National Forests just west of Denver, the photograph shows a distinct figure amidst the dense wilderness. Shrouded in foliage, the figure's shape and size have led some to believe it could be the elusive Bigfoot, a creature long rumored to inhabit such remote areas. For experts in cryptozoology, the excitement around such sighting hinges on the clarity of the photograph and the details surrounding its capture. The rugged terrain and isolation of Square Top Mountain provide a plausible backdrop for encountering such a legendary creature. The dense forests and expansive wilderness of this region make it an ideal setting for a creature like Bigfoot to remain hidden from human eyes. A resident in a neighborhood was out one night when he noticed something unusual. Above one of the buildings, there was a green light, and from this green light were green lasers moving back and forth across the sky. The first thing that came to the minds of many was that this was some sort of UFO activity. The way the lasers move, the intensity of the green light, and the sheer strangeness of the scene make this theory probable. Some members of the paranormal platform, however, believe that this is nothing more than a drone equipped with lasers. Perhaps someone was using it for a light show or some sort of event. Drones can perform incredible light displays, and with the increasing accessibility of a high-tech drone, it's plausible that this could be an elaborate setup by a tech enthusiast or an artist. What do you make of this? Is it just a drone with lasers, or could it be something more otherworldly? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. A group of men were out at sea when they encountered something truly unusual in the water. This creature was brownish and somewhat transparent, moving smoothly beneath the surface. It didn't breach or leap out of the water like a typical sea animal, but instead, it lingered around them, staying just out of reach. Its eerie appearance, almost as if it was from another world, makes you wonder, what could it be? Some might speculate it's a type of jellyfish or perhaps an undiscovered sea creature, but the fact that it stayed so close yet just out of view adds an air of mystery to this ocean encounter. Some in the community have screamed blanket octopus, whilst others have shouted mermaid. You've seen the clip. What do you think? Still on scary, identified beings or creatures of the night. Take a look at this one. The clip starts off showing us the cam of a man on a motorbike. It's dark and he appears to be alone in the road. He's driving on until his path is crossed by a being in white overalls. Based on the height and build, I'm tempted to think it's a man, but what would a man be doing alone in the middle of nowhere? Once more, the man on the bike screams when he sees the being, person, or whatever this is, and keeps riding without even stopping. He allegedly uploaded this after his experience, and it got the platform he uploaded it on talking. Julius saw the clip, however, and stated he's not buying it. He says it's staged and he doesn't understand how we can believe this is real. I get it too. I mean, it's all a bit too convenient. But then again, maybe that's what the spirit or being wants us to think. Aaron doesn't know how to feel about this one. What about you? While walking along a riverbank, an observer captured something truly eerie. It was a pale head with hollow eyes in the water. The entity looked ghostly, moving slowly until it vanished without disturbing the water in any way. This unsettling sight leaves us with more questions than answers. The pale head with hollow eyes suggests something otherworldly, evoking images of spirits and apparitions from folklore and ghost stories. The fact that the water remained undisturbed as the entity moved adds to the mystery and spookiness of the encounter. Could this be a ghost? In many cultures, water is believed to be a conduit for spirits, often serving as a boundary between the physical and spiritual worlds. Ghost sightings near water are not uncommon, and the stillness of the water, despite the entity's movement, could indicate a supernatural presence. Some tourists were out in Hawaii when they came across something odd in the sky. As you can see, whatever it is, it was saucer-shaped but not flat. It was thick. The object hovered high above them, capturing everyone's attention. With so many recent reports and clips of UAPs, it's becoming harder to dismiss these sightings as mere illusions or misidentified objects. There are some who believe that these could be advanced military technologies being tested, while others are convinced that they're evidence of extraterrestrial life visiting our planet. The shape and behavior of the object, along with the witnesses' accounts, fuel the ongoing debate about what these sightings truly represent. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, such accounts always leave room for wonder and speculation. So what's your take on this? This footage from the streets of New York shows something straight out of a sci-fi movie, a neon green substance seeping up from the sewers. It's an unusual and unsettling sight, leaving people puzzled and speculating about what it could be. Is it some sort of chemical waste, a natural reaction, or even something more sinister? While New York's old sewer system has been known to carry everything from waste to runoff, this bright green liquid looks anything but normal. What could be causing this mysterious leak? Environmental hazard or harmless phenomenon? What are your thoughts? I came across this rather interesting video. It shows a group of kids gathered around a boy who's holding a glowing orb. The orb has an unusual shade of blue around it. The children are laughing and talking excitedly, and it's clear that they're all fascinated by the object. However, as the footage progresses, it becomes apparent that the orb has a mind of its own. It seems to be trying to fly away from the boy's grasp, almost as if it's alive. Despite the boy's attempts to hold onto it, the orb slips from his fingers and shoots off into the sky. The children run after it, but it continues to fly until it disappears from view. It's unclear what happened to the orb after that. Now, the question is, what is that glowing orb? Was it some kind of toy, or could it be something else entirely, maybe even from another world? Hard to say due to limited footage, but share your thoughts with me in the comments section. One of the most fascinating theories that still amazes me to this day is the flat Earth theory. If the Earth is indeed flat, then what we know about day and night would be completely different. Someone created a setup to demonstrate how day and night could work on a flat Earth. They had a candle tied on wheels and then placed a see-through glass between the wheeled cradle and a camera positioned lower on the glass. When the candle is wheeled away from the glass, it looks like the flame is going lower from the camera's point of view, and when it's wheeled toward the glass, it looks like it's moving upward. However, a commenter pointed out some critical flaws in this demonstration. I must say that the user has a point. We see the sun from different points around the world, and in real life, we don't visibly see the sun move, and the size of the sun remains the same at every point of the day. This setup mimics how the sun rises and sets according to flat Earth proponents. While the demonstration is thought-provoking, the overwhelming scientific evidence supports a spherical Earth. Even so, this demonstration tickles my curiosity. What about you? What do you make of this setup? Have you ever witnessed an abduction before? Not the humankind, I mean an alien abduction. If your answer is no, then today's your lucky day. In this short clip, we see a spacecraft appear and then quickly disappear. If you pay attention to the clip, however, you'll notice that there was a beam just before it disappeared. Many who saw this clip believe that someone was abducted by aliens. What do you think? One of you asked us to look into this story, and I must say, it's an interesting one. A man was returning home one day when he noticed there was a shadow or silhouette of what looked like a man in his window. This was odd to him because he lived alone. Carefully, he made his way to the apartment, hoping to capture whoever that was, and he meets no one. Under normal circumstances, well, he would have ignored it, but not this time. This was a new place he'd moved into, and ever since he got there was always one thing or the other. Things moved on their own, and he found items in places they shouldn't be. This was the last straw. He set up a security camera system to monitor the house while he was away, and when he reviewed the footage, he heard things he wished he hadn't. In his home where he lived alone, there was a voice chanting whenever he was away. The security system only captured the audio and not the video. This left him distressed and worried. He uploaded the clip seeking answers, but all he got was a number of individuals telling him to stay away from the property and rent another. What do you think of the whole thing, and what would you have done in his shoes?
But I just pulled up, and what is that? Is that a person? Should be nobody in the house, nobody at all.
So when I saw this clip, I was about to throw it into our AI pile until I saw this comment. So quickly I did my research to see if Pirarachu is a real thing, and guess what I found? Not only is it real, but it's also one of the largest freshwater fish on the planet. Native to the Amazon, the Pirarachu is also known as an arapaima and can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh more than 400 pounds. It breathes air like a dolphin, has armor-like scales, and is so prized for its flesh that conservationists now work to keep it from vanishing completely. Some have insisted that it's AI because the toes of the men look weird, but, well, what do you guys think? AI or not? Also, there are other clips of the fish this big, but I want us to focus on the authenticity of the clip. Maybe it would help us appreciate how much of a menace AI is becoming to society. It's hard to believe what our eyes or ears hear or see anymore.
Vai.
A pesca do pirarucu de manejo, que é o seu Luiz Ferreira colocando para canoa exemplar de 150 quilos. É dos.
We've seen many fascinating and strange things captured in the ocean, yet somehow they never get old. This particular footage comes from a scuba diver who was deep in the sea when they spotted this moving through the water. It is a thread-like creature wiggling softly in the current. It had a strange, almost hypnotic shimmer to it, but it disappeared into the water almost as if it dissolved or vanished into thin currents. The footage caused quite a stir online. Some viewers called it fake, edited, or even a glimpse of some kind of alien sea creature, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. There was something very otherworldly about the way it moved and shimmered. But as it turns out, this isn't some deep-sea alien. The creature is believed to be a palolo worm. It's a marine species known for a phenomenon called epitoki. During epitoki, parts of the worm's body transforms and breaks away for reproduction, glowing in the water as they drift. It's a rare and surreal thing to witness, and this diver just happened to catch the moment on camera. Still, seeing it with your own eyes vanishing doesn't exactly ease the sense of mystery now, does it? This eerie photograph was shared by a man who works at a car dealership, and it left people with chills. According to him, he was the last one to leave the building that day. As he was locking up and making sure everything was shut down, he noticed something unusual near one of the back offices. Right in front of the back door, he spotted what looked like a transparent humanoid figure just standing there, almost like it was guarding the doorway. That door, as it turns out, leads to the office of the dealership's former owner who had passed away just a few months earlier. Now, the employee didn't say whether the ghostly figure looked exactly like the late owner, but that hasn't stopped the speculation. A lot of people believe it has to be him. Maybe he's still watching over the business, or maybe there's something else keeping him tied to that space. Either way, it's hard to ignore how clear that figure looks in the photograph, especially when you consider the history behind that room. This next video was shared by a man who was out one night with his friend in Veracruz, Mexico. They were walking through a quiet town path when they noticed something at the other end of the road. Someone or something was just standing there. It looked like a person in a yellow skirt or dress, though, well, it was hard to tell from the distance. The figure just stood there completely still, facing them. The man behind the camera called out to them but got no response. Instead, the figure slowly walked off the road and turned the corner around a wall. So the men rushed after it, but when they got to the corner, there was no one there, except a strange, snow-white statue just outside what looked like an old, abandoned children's play park. The only thing that matched what they'd seen was the way the statue's lower half was painted yellow. That park has been shut down for years. Locals say it's haunted, but no one goes near it. So did the statue come to life?
Güey, ese es el velador de... ¿Es el velador, no? ¿Velador? ¡Ey! ¿Velador? Aguanta, aguanta, espérate, ey. Shh, no te muevas. No mames, no te muevas de ahí. Güey. ¿Velador? Ese no es el velador, güey. Güey, no es el velador. No. No, aguanta, deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, Deja que mi cámara enfoque bien, güey, ese no es el velador. No digas perras mamadas, güey. No digas mamadas, güey. Güey, es que era el vestido también así, güey. ¿Verdad? Amarillo. Yo también, güey. No, güey, no era el velador, mira.
Now, this clip was uploaded by someone who swears they found Area 51. In the clip, we see 3 orbs that combine into one and then split. They do this many times. Maybe too many times, it looks as though the technology was being tested. We aren't told where this was captured, and the individual who uploaded it did so to his account he created just to upload the clip. He most likely did it so that he couldn't be traced. The extra steps make me feel like it could be real, but then again, that could be just what he's aiming at. So what do you think? Not sure if you remember, but in our last episode, or the penultimate one, we shared a clip that showed strange things going on in the skies of Vancouver, Canada, and the US. This clip shows yet another one of those instances. This particular one was recorded from a plane, and just like the other clip, it's got the comment section divided. A few individuals felt it's a drone. They ask everyone to look at the clip slowly, and that they will see that there's a drone in those lights. Some also feel its UFOs are not drones per se. They believe that they're too high to be drones unless they're military, which they doubt. They state they doubt those are military drones since they're basically drawing attention to themselves. Military drones, on the other hand, are stealth-based and wouldn't be noticed by the naked eye at night. A few others also feel it's CGI. This is the second time you've seen something like this if you're an avid follower of the channel, so what do you think? Every day, it seems like a new invention is born, and some of them feel like something straight out of science fiction. Recently, researchers have developed a mind-blowing technology that allows sound to be directed at just one person in a room full of people without anyone else hearing it. This tech uses ultrasound beams that can bend through the air and travel silently until they reach their target. Once it hits the intended person, the sound becomes audible only to them. Imagine being in a room with 1,000 people and you hear a voice in your ear clear as day while the person sitting next to you hears absolutely nothing. It sounds like telepathy, but it's real science. Right now, it's not mainstream, but what you can do with this tech is endless, from personal communication to high-security messaging. It's still being refined, but the fact that it exists at all is both fascinating and just a little eerie. This was shot in Italy, and it's got the community debating. It's not every day you see something like this in the sky. Now that I've said it out loud, I feel I have to correct myself. You don't ever see that in the sky. So, what exactly are we looking at? Well, the community is unable to agree on what it might be. Some think it's Project Bluebeam being fired up by the government once again to manipulate and confuse its citizens. Others feel it's most likely a portal from a different dimension or world to our own. When you think about it, that sounds plausible. The only thing is, there's nothing going on or coming out. Maybe there is, and we just can't see. As interesting as these explanations are, they only make sense if this clip is genuine and authentic. There are some in the community who don't think that's the case and believe the whole clip was just made up for the sake of going viral. But you've seen the clip. So what do you have to say? The family believed they were being haunted by a Jinn, and in desperation, they decided to perform a ritual to drive it out. The footage shows a man sitting cross-legged on a mat right in front of the doorway inside the house. In front of him is a bowl filled with some kind of liquid surrounded by a few other mysterious items. Then he dips his hand into the bowl, raises his palm outward to the door, and suddenly the door explodes open with a force that sends the door flying. For a split second, the doorway itself flashes a strange red light, and then the footage cuts off. Now, if this was a ritual meant to banish a Jinn, it clearly had an effect. But here's where the debate starts. Skeptics argue that this was nothing more than a staged explosion with clever effects, but others say it looks way too violent and precise to be a hoax. So what really happened here? Was this family fighting off a supernatural force? Or was it all just a hidden blast charge? This footage was shared by a man who went hiking deep in the woods and stumbled upon something he never expected. Hidden between the trees was this massive creature that looked like a dogman. The thing was huge, it's fur-matted and wild, and if you look closely, you'll notice it doesn't resemble Bigfoot at all. Its snout is long and dog-like, more similar to a wolf's than a primate. You can feel how tense the moment was. The hiker didn't get too close, but just enough to catch this glimpse before leaving immediately. So is the Dogman legend a lot more real than we thought? This next footage was taken by a cameraman who had been hired to film a Halloween party at a hotel in the UK. He arrived early to set up, and while testing his camera, he casually panned across the room to capture the table arrangements and decorations. At first, everything seemed normal until something strange happened. As he moved the camera, it briefly captured what looked like a woman in black, sitting quietly in a basket chair with her back turned to the camera facing the wall. It was an odd sight, but what made it truly unsettling was the fact that he was supposed to be alone in the room. Startled, he quickly turned the camera back toward her to get a better look, but she was gone. Confused, he rushed over to check the area, hoping to spot someone walking away, but there was no one. No footsteps, no sound of movement, no sign that anyone had ever been there. The room was empty. If the figure wasn't a guest or staff member, then what exactly did he capture? Many believe it could have been a ghost or some kind of entity tied to the hotel, and given that this happened on Halloween, the timing only made the whole encounter feel even eerier. What do you think he saw? This is one of those clips I have no answers to. We're just going to watch it together and draw our own conclusion. The uploader doesn't tell us where it was captured, only that it's a satanic ritual. I'm not exactly sure what they're chanting or worshipping, but we can tell from the symbols present that this is most definitely satanic. Why do you think people worship Satan? I mean, from all we know and have learned over the years, it won't end well, and the cost or consequences are great. So what do you think drives people like this to do what they do? Even if you don't believe in anything paranormal, ghosts might just be the one thing that's hard to deny. Just take a look at this footage. A woman was driving home at night when her dashcam caught a person standing by the side of the road. You can see the figure clearly just off to the side. But here's where it gets weird. When the footage cuts to the rearview camera just a few seconds later, there's no one there. The roadside is empty. So where did that figure go? There was no time for anyone to run off like that. There are no trees to hide behind. It's like whoever or whatever was standing there just vanished. Could this have been a ghost, some kind of residual spirit bound to that stretch of road? Because people don't just disappear in the thin air like that. So what do you think she saw?
Man, this happened 1, 2, 3 times too much. These dumbasses. 2, 3 times too much.
The ocean is easily one of the most mysterious places on Earth, so whenever something even slightly unusual shows up, people go into full panic mode. Recently, a man shared a video he took while flying over the ocean, somewhere between the Dominican Republic and Mexico. What caught his eye were these long yellowish lines stretching across the water. They looked completely out of place, almost like something artificial or otherworldly. He had no clue what they were, and he wasn't the only one. Once he posted the video, the internet went wild. People threw out all kinds of theories, from secret military experiments to alien traces to deep-sea monsters. But finally, the mystery was solved, and no, it wasn't a sea creature, a government cover-up, or a portal to another dimension. It was something called sargassum, which is a type of seaweed. Sargassum is a natural floating brown algae that can spread out in massive patches across the ocean's surface. While it's totally normal, especially in tropical regions, when seen from above, especially for the first time, it can look really eerie and unnatural. So while this one turned out to be nothing paranormal, it's still a great reminder of how easy the ocean can fool us and how quickly our minds can spiral into mystery. Here we have another possible UFO sighting, this time from Mexico. The video was originally shared on TikTok by a guy who spotted something strange in the night sky. The object was completely silent. No hum, no engine noise, just hovering up there. It looked almost triangular, but not quite. The sides weren't sharp or pointy, which makes it hard to say for sure what shape it truly was. As with many sightings like this, people were quick to label it a UFO, especially given how still and eerie it looked in the sky. But what do you think? Could this be something out of the ordinary or just a man-made craft? When I first saw this, I assumed I was looking at a magnified clip from a microscope. After trying a few seconds to find out what parasite it was, Aaron, our in-house conspiracy theorist, tapped me on the shoulder and told me it was a clip from a scope, like a rifle scope. I cleared my throat and pretended I knew that all along, but I didn't. That doesn't make the clip any easier to understand. If anything, it makes it even more complex. Aaron stated that the one who captured and uploaded it believes he captured a skinwalker eating a dog. Yeah, I know it sounds bizarre, but take a good look at the clip. Doesn't that look like the case? But why would a skinwalker be eating a dog? It beats me, but I have one question. Why didn't the guy shoot? So we could have proof this was real. According to Aaron, the guy was scared. He didn't know if normal bullets would kill it or not, and he didn't want to become a meal because he had a family. And when I listened, I kind of understood, but there's a part of me that feels it's too convenient an excuse to give. Many in the community believe it, though, so what can I say? Anyway, you guys have seen the clip, so tell me what you also think. So, you know how people keep saying there are ghosts in our cemeteries? Well, the one filming this set out to prove that using the SLS Ghost Tube camera. The lines you see in the footage are allegedly that of a ghost that lived there. I don't even have the words to explain how the camera works or how it's even picking up the alleged vet. Julius, well, he thinks it's fake, and my video editor adds that this could have been put in post-production. Not sure why everyone's being skeptical, but, well, what do you think?
Hooey, let's have a look. You gone? Hello, mate.
Back in the 1970s, Soviet scientists began drilling what would become the deepest hole ever dug into the earth. The goal was to reach the Earth's mantle. They never quite made it, but what they did achieve is still mind-blowing. This hole, known as the Kola Super Deep Borehole, goes down an astonishing 12 kilometers, or about 7.5 miles. That's deeper than any ocean trench. But what's eerie isn't just how deep it goes, it's what people claim to have experienced there. Recently, this video started making the rounds online. In it, some men light a piece of paper or fabric on fire and drop it into a massive, gaping hole in the ground. The flames trail downwards, disappearing into the darkness until they're no longer visible. It almost looks like the fire is being swallowed by the earth itself. Many people assumed this was the Kola Super Deep Borehole, but it's not. The real Kola borehole was sealed up years ago with a heavy bolted metal plate, and it's much smaller than the one in the video. It's just wide enough for equipment, not big enough to throw yourself into like the one shown online. So while the video is definitely creepy, it's not the infamous Soviet deep drilling site. Still, the real Kola borehole remains one of the most fascinating and mysterious scientific efforts ever developed.
Okay. Drop it down. Oh. Still going too. Which hole did you go down to?
It's been a while since I saw a clip I completely didn't have any explanations or theories for. Not sure if you can see it, but the branches and trees in this clip are just bending and breaking off. It's almost as though an invisible force was doing that, but, well, that's not possible or realistic, right? Right? That's exactly what I thought. So what do you guys think is going on here? Can any of you explain? A woman and a few others were out in the middle of the ocean enjoying a peaceful day on a boat when they noticed this. She quickly pulled out her phone and started filming because rising just above the water's surface was what looked like a periscope. It was tracking the boat's movement. You can hear her voice in the background along with the man's, both fascinated by what they're seeing. There's this eerie feeling that something is watching them. Now, before we let our minds spiral into worst-case scenarios, well, let's pause and think this through. It could just be part of a submarine. Modern submarines do have periscopes, and they're used exactly like this, just above water, quietly observing. If that's all this was, it would explain a lot. But what if it wasn't a military submarine? Then what is it? Some viewers have pointed out that the size, angle, and silence of the device didn't quite match standard tech. Others wonder whether this was part of some unidentified submerged craft or something else entirely. What are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, right now we are out and there's a periscope taking pictures of us in the water. This is so freaky. Holy crap, it is looking around. It's going down. Oh my gosh. Holy crap.
A couple in the US were spending a quiet evening at the beach around sundown when they noticed this. Out in the distance, standing alone near the shoreline, was a humanoid figure completely still. The waves came in and crashed over its legs and up to its waist, but it didn't move, not even a little. The couple didn't dare go closer. They stayed back and filmed from a distance, which means all we're left is this grainy, unsettling footage. And honestly, that somehow makes it even creepier. We can't tell for sure if it's a person, maybe someone in a trance, struggling with something emotionally, or maybe just soaking in the feeling of the ocean waves. But some viewers have a much stranger theory. They believe this could be a shapeshifter, a creature returning to the sea, or something not quite human that simply doesn't behave the way we expect it to. Whatever it was, it didn't acknowledge the waves, didn't react to the cold, and didn't care that it was being watched. So what could it be?
Okay.
Maybe we wouldn't have been able to see it.
There is not even on the camera.
There's something there.
Looks like a speck of light.
Do you think we could ever spot more than one sun from our planet? And before you say no, take a look at this clip. The individual filming captures not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 suns in the sky. And this shouldn't be possible, but here it is. Some who saw the clip jovially stated that his phone was probably intoxicated, but beyond the jokes and teasing, what do you think is happening here?
5 солнц. Раз. Два. 3. 4. 5. И радуга над нами.
This next footage went viral not long after it was posted online, and once you hear what happened, you'll understand why. It was shared by a mother who had installed a home security system in her house. In the first clip, we see her young son in the kitchen grabbing a snack. Everything seems completely normal until suddenly he freezes in place. Moments later, he starts screaming and bolts upstairs in a panic. According to the mother, her son came running to her, terrified, begging her to get the home security gun because he was convinced someone was inside the house. He was so shaken that she locked him and his siblings in a room and went to check the house himself, but strangely, there was no one there. The mother explained that she too heard what sounded like heavy footsteps right when her son barged into the room, so at that point, even she was convinced someone had broken in. Still shaken, they went back and reviewed the kitchen footage, and that's when things got weird. Right before her son runs, a voice can be heard faintly saying, "How did you find me?" But in the footage, there's clearly no one there. The entire family was shaken by the event, but her son was particularly affected, so much so that he refused to step foot in the kitchen after the incident. What do you think they captured? A ghost, an intruder, or something else entirely? If my mama asked me what I remember about my birth, my answer would most likely be nothing, because I remember nothing. But the little one in this clip, though, well, listen to his response.
Hey, Eliza.
What?
Do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember when the earth would open and I crawled out of hell.
You heard him right. He speaks of the earth opening and him climbing out of hell. If he were an older kid, I would say his active imagination might be lit up, but this guy, however, sounds like he just started to learn to speak. How does someone this young know of stuff like this? Either he heard someone say it, or he truly experienced it, and if he did, it makes you wonder. Is that the case for everyone? And if it is, why do we forget? And why hell? Notice how his mom's face changes and the clip ends abruptly. That's how you know this is the real deal.
Hey, Eliza.
What?
Do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember when the earth would open and I crawled out of hell.
A man shared his home security footage online after capturing something that truly spooked him. It happened late one night in Chile. He was at home when he noticed the neighborhood dogs barking like crazy. So he stepped outside, but couldn't see anything in the dark, so he decided to check his security cameras. And that's when he saw this. The camera was facing the front of his property near a short metal fence, and just beyond it, something strange zipped across the ground. It looked like a white, smoky blur. But slow it down and you can see it has 4 legs. It's moving fast on the ground and there's this ghostly white haze trailing behind it, almost like it's part animal, part mist. Whatever it was, it moved with unnatural speed. No wonder the dogs were losing it. Now, skeptics say it could have just been a dog or a coyote running through the area, but others believe this was something else, like some kind of spirit animal or unknown creature cloaked in mist. So what do you think ran through that yard? Because that did not look ordinary. The human body is a truly fascinating and sometimes bizarre thing. Believe it or not, there are people who have actually grown horns. Yup, real horn-like structures that sprout from the skin. Take a look at this woman. She appears to be growing a horn right out of her head. But don't worry, she's not a mutant or some kind of supernatural being. She has a rare condition known as a cutaneous horn. These strange spiky growths are made of the same material as our fingernails and hair, keratin. They can grow on different parts of the body, and while they look like something straight out of mythology, they're very real and documented in medical history. Sometimes they grow slowly over the years, and in some cases they pop up suddenly, shocking both doctors and the people who develop them. While many of them are harmless, some can be linked to underlying skin conditions, so they're not something to ignore. But seeing someone growing a horn on their head makes you wonder how much about the human body we understand. In Norway, a tech company by the name of X1 is making waves with a bold new move. They're set to deploy thousands of humanoid robots called Neo Gamma directly into people's homes. But here's the twist. These robots aren't being tested in labs. Instead, they'll be monitored and observed right inside actual homes, living side by side with humans and adapting to real-life human behavior in real environments. The reason is to help the robots learn and evolve naturally by being part of everyday life instead of running scripted simulations. Neo-gamma units are set to start rolling out later this year, and people are already split on how they feel about it. Some are excited, others a little uneasy. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to see robots in labs, but living with them, well, that's a whole other story. Do you think mermaids are real? No? Well, then how do you explain this? These two different clips do not show us full-bodied mermaids, of course, but take a closer look. Do you see what could be tails belonging to these beings? Also pay attention to the body hidden in the water. That couldn't be ordinary fish now, could it? Well, this has left me with one hypothesis. There's a slim but possible chance that these are merfolk. Now, I love merfolks and I've read Atlantis several times, so this could be me being biased. To keep things balanced, I sought the opinions of team members, and they didn't disappoint. Some felt it was just a large fish, but couldn't name which fish. Others also felt the clip was altered to create the impression. Julius refused, which is just him being himself after all. With diverse opinions on what this could be, I thought I'd bring you guys in to settle the score. So what do you think? We've all heard of the usual sports like marathons, long jump, swimming, football, and basketball. And even more, the bizarre ones like sperm racing that have made headlines recently. But have you ever heard of frog jumping competitions? And yes, I mean actual frogs. This unusual event takes place in California, where people are lined up on a patch of dirt, each with a frog. The game is to get your frog to jump the farthest, but you're not allowed to touch the frog. So contestants resort to yelling, stomping near the frog, or even slapping the ground behind it, all in the hopes of spooking the frog into making that big leap. It may look like innocent fun, and sure, people enjoy it, but when you think about it, they're literally terrifying frogs for sport. Surprisingly, this isn't some new quirky trend. This tradition dates all the way back to the 1920s, inspired by Mark Twain's famous story, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. Still, do you see it as a tradition or a torment? Have you ever had one of your bowls move while you were setting the table for dinner? If you answered no, that would make two of us. For the lady in this video, however, the same could not be said. She was arranging items on the table when one of the bowls started to move. As is expected, she was confused and tried to understand what was happening, but try as she might, she couldn't. She just couldn't understand what was happening. She later uploaded the footage online seeking answers, and while some said they would have had a heart attack if it were them, others pointed out that the table had to have water or some liquid on it. This, according to them, would make the bowl slide along and look as if it's been possessed, yet there was nothing like that happening. I must admit this does sound logical, but some in my team think this might be a real possession. But what do you guys think? Lately, there's been a rise in alleged sightings of prehistoric creatures around the world, and one of the most talked about is this strange footage someone shared. In it, you see what looks like a giant centipede-like creature crawling through a forest. People quickly claimed it was an arthropleura, an actual prehistoric arthropod that lived millions of years ago. These creatures were real and could grow to massive sizes, some up to 8 feet long. But when you compare this video to scientific depictions of the Arthroplura, something feels off. The creature in the video has too many legs and the movement looks almost unnatural. Some say it's just AI generated, others are convinced that some ancient species might still be lurking out there hidden deep in the forests or jungles. But what do you think? Is this a real prehistoric comeback or just another convincing piece of internet trickery? In the paranormal community and even in ancient folklore, there are countless records of tiny beings, elves, duendes, fae, you name it. They're usually described as small humanoid creatures living in hidden worlds alongside our own. But if these beings exist, well, wouldn't it make sense that their world includes more than just people? That they might have their own tiny versions of the animals we know? Well, a woman recently caught something very strange on camera right outside her property, which borders the woods. Watch closely. Running through a gap in the fence is what looks like a miniature horse, but not a pony, not a foal. This thing is fully grown, just cat-sized. It darts across the field and disappears straight into the woods like it knows exactly where it's going. This wasn't a stuffed animal, it was a living, breathing creature, and it's got people asking questions. Was this just some freak mutation or a rare genetic anomaly, or does this little horse belong to someone or something else? Like a society of tiny beings, maybe hidden deep within the forest. Some say it's impossible, but others say it makes perfect sense. But what do you think? I played The Last of Us games and loved it. No one was excited as I was to see it come to our screens, but ever since it did, almost everyone has been on edge about a zombie apocalypse. While there are extremes, I must say, it's a good thing. Why? Well, how do you explain what's on your screen? Before you say it's CGI, you need to know this. Scientists have discovered a new species of parasitic fungus called Gibulelia atomberagi in Ireland that turns spiders into zombies. The fungus infects cave-dwelling orb weaver spiders, hijacking their behavior and causing them to leave their webs, climb to high spots and die, allowing the fungus to grow and release spores from their bodies. This manipulation is similar to the infamous zombie ant fungus and highlights a new fungal strategy of mind control. While eerie, it poses no threat to humans, yet. In most zombie movies, the scientists are responsible for their spread because they want to study these things. And that's exactly what's happening now. And I must tell you, I would let the aliens take me before I lived in a zombie apocalypse. It's the lesser of the two evils. Meditation is easily one of the most fascinating practices in the world. You'd be surprised by the kind of things people have achieved through deep meditation, mastering their minds and training their bodies to reach extraordinary states. Take this yogi, for instance, sitting completely still in the snow deep in meditation. Snowflakes gently fell on him, piling up, but he didn't flinch. No warm clothing, no visible discomfort, just stillness. It's said that some yogis can control their body heat through meditation, allowing them to withstand freezing temperatures without feeling the cold at all. There's also the story of a man who decided to keep his arm raised for the rest of his life as a spiritual offering. The first few years were painful beyond belief, but through meditation and discipline he got used to it. Over time his body adapted, and that became his new normal. Then there's the tale of a Buddhist monk who set out to walk over 10,000 kilometers in 100 days, training both his mind and body to stay in a constant state of flow. Every step was part of a meditative ritual, and he did it without faltering. One of the most astonishing stories is that of a teenage boy who reportedly meditated under a tree for months without food or water. Whether or not you believe it, many say he was successful, emerging with his body intact and his focus unbroken. These people don't just practice meditation the way most of us do at home. Their version is intense, immersive, and goes far beyond relaxation. It's as if they tap into another layer of existence, a deep, unshakable flow state where their limits of mind and body are pushed beyond what seems possible. Can you challenge yourself to do these things? Remember Dolly, the cloned sheep? She was the first mammal ever cloned using advanced DNA technology, but here's the wild part: that same tech has now been used to reverse human aging. Researchers recently took the skin cells of a 53-year-old woman and reversed them to behave like they were just 23. That's right, they turned back her biological clock by 30 years. By reprogramming her DNA using techniques similar to those used in cloning, scientists were able to reset the cells, making them younger at a molecular level. The results are mind-blowing. Her cells didn't just look younger, they functioned younger. It's not just full body age reversal just yet, but if we can do this to skin cells now, what's next? Entire organs? The whole body? We might be a lot closer to anti-aging breakthroughs than we think. Would you try it if it became available? Stepping away from that, what would you have done if you saw a cloud moving the way this particular one is moving? Wait, what am I even asking? There's nothing you can do. It's a cloud up high in the sky. While realistically speaking, we can't do anything, we can at least speculate and ask questions. That's definitely not a cloud. Clouds don't move that quickly. That's definitely something pretending to be a cloud. But what? Well, the answer is simple, and I can feel it at the tip of your tongue. It's definitely a UFO. While we've mentioned most aren't hiding anymore, it's clear that there are a few that would love to go unnoticed if this clip is genuine. If that's the case, then we have questions. Why are some UFOs showing themselves and some hiding? Are there multiple alien factions in our airspace? Should we be worried, or is my lack of sleep making me paranoid? These days, you have to be extra cautious around places labeled as abandoned houses, and not for the reasons you might expect. One person decided to explore one of those supposed deserted homes, camera in hand to document the experience. They entered through the creaky doors, stepping into a space that looked like it hadn't seen life in years. Dust coated most surfaces, newspapers were scattered everywhere, and the furniture sat crooked and worn. But something felt off. As they moved through the lower floor and made their way up the stairs, one small detail stood out. The center of the steps wasn't dusty. In fact, the dust had been cleared in a neat line, as if someone used those stairs regularly. They reached the landing and entered the first room, the door already ajar. Inside, the scene matched the rest of the house, cluttered and dirty, but somehow not completely abandoned. And then, as the camera panned across the room, it caught something that sent a jolt down the explorer's spine. A figure, kneeling near the bed, motionless, back turned, like they'd been there the entire time. This was supposed to be an empty house, but clearly someone was living there, or at least staying there, quietly, secretly. And the creepiest part, they hadn't noticed they were being watched. Members of the community believe this isn't an abandoned property, but instead one of a hoarder. Personally, I'm tempted to think so too, but what do you guys make of the whole situation? In just this year alone, about 4 to 5 whales have washed up on beaches, and sadly, all of them were found dead. Now, of course, this started to raise serious concerns. Some people believe this could be a warning sign that something is not right in the waters near San Francisco. But while it sounds ominous, there might be more than one explanation for what's going on. In many cases, whale deaths are caused by collisions with massive ships that can be fatal, but here's where it gets strange. Some of these recent whale deaths don't show any usual signs of trauma. That's what sparks more speculation. So what's really going on in the San Francisco waters? Could it be something environmental, something man-made, or maybe even something we don't yet understand? This man was out late one night filming by himself. He'd set up his camera on something nearby and was crouched down, casually wiping his face with his shirt, when something wild happened. Out of nowhere, this massive creature just leapt onto his head. The guy freaked out, jumped up in total panic, and tried to swat it off. You could see it crawling over him. It looked like a giant spider, not the kind you want as a pet. It kept moving around, almost like it was trying to settle in, until he finally flung it off into the darkness. After that, he did what anyone would do. He ran out of there as if his life depended on it. Now, we have to admit, watching it unfold is pretty hilarious, but also kind of disturbing. So what exactly was that thing? A mutated spider, some alien-looking insect, or just one of those giant jungle bugs that don't care about your personal space? Whatever it was big, it was fast, and it didn't belong on his head. So when I started watching this clip, I was wondering what the giant being blocking the light was, but the thing is, the individuals recording the clip speak about a triangular UFO in the sky. This made me think that the giant may be something in front of them or close to the camera that takes that form because it's dark. They speak of a triangular UFO, which is actually a famous type of UFO we featured on this channel before. Can any of you remember the name? Either way, this was allegedly captured in Texas in 2022, yet somehow it's circulating up today. What do you guys think of it? Do you think we should be focusing on the giant-like creature or pay attention to the triangular UFO as individuals filming keep pointing out? This image was taken in Shropshire, UK at night using a digital camera back in 2010. According to the woman who captured it, she noticed a strange figure immediately, and when she showed it to her friends, they freaked out. She later said, "When we saw the ghostly figure, the boys climbed up the scaffolding to see what was up there, thinking maybe someone was watching us, but there was nothing up there. There was no floorboards or anything. The house wasn't finished being built yet at the time. So here's the puzzle. If there was no floor, then what or who was up there? Since it was nighttime, we can rule out sunlight or natural glare, but even at night, digital cameras can behave oddly under certain conditions. A common culprit is the flash. The brief burst of light can reflect off dust particles, moisture, or partially transparent materials like plastic sheets, especially at construction sites, and create shapes that appear eerily human. Another possibility is motion blur. If someone had moved quickly through the frame just as the picture was taken, especially in low light, it might have created a blurry, ghost-like silhouette. In those moments, even a moving shadow or reflection from someone on the ground could appear to be floating higher up. There's also matrixing or pareidolia, the mind's tendency to impose familiar shapes like faces or figures on a random patterns. The combination of darkness, unfinished structures, and shadows might have made the brain interpret construction materials or gaps as a figure. But if we take a word for it, that no one could physically be there and the materials were hanging or stacked where the figures appeared, then we're left with a mystery, glitch, illusion, or something we don't fully understand. What do you think was up there? A researcher recently conducted a strange experiment on sleepwalkers, and what he discovered might just change how we understand the phenomenon. He found that many sleepwalkers tend to move directly towards specific spots or objects while sleepwalking, seemingly without reason, but here's where it gets really weird. He also discovered that certain metals, when exposed to sunlight, emit light frequencies that are invisible to the average person, but not to sleepwalkers. According to his theory, sleepwalkers might be able to see things the rest of us can't, like subtle lights. This could explain why they gravitate to certain places or repeat strange behaviors while asleep. So is sleepwalking just a brain glitch, or are sleepwalkers navigating a hidden layer of reality the rest of us can't see? So when I first saw the Pope sit in front of this, I was like, why would such a holy man be sitting before such an unholy-looking sculpture? Turns out the problem was me. I just didn't get the art. Meet The Resurrection by Petrification. It's a massive bronze and copper sculpture located in the Paul V1 Audience Hall at the Vatican, completed in 1977. It depicts Jesus rising from a nuclear bomb crater in the Garden of Gethsemane, symbolizing both destruction and divine hope. Fazzini wanted to capture the chaos and violence of the modern world, especially fears of nuclear war, while showing Christ triumphing over it. The twisted, almost explosive forms around Christ give the sculpture a surreal, intense energy, blending suffering with resurrection. It's one of the Vatican's most striking and modern works of religious art. So what do you art-inclined people think? Did I just say art-inclined? Shouldn't it be artistic? I don't know. Let's move on. What the hell did the guy think was gonna happen? I mean, I gotta give him his due. The guy's got some big balls. I mean, you wouldn't get me doing that. But after a jump that height, I bet his balls have gone from that size to that size after being crushed by the water. Ah, dear Lord. People will do anything for views, right? With that, we end today's episode. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, have you got any videos that we can share? Then please send it to us. classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll put it on this channel, and if you want, we'll even mention you. How does that sound? Pretty good, right? Anyway, I'm gonna disappear. Steve out. Mwah. See you next time.